returns to LA to find Angel in the arms of her worst enemy.
I'm sorry. You apologize to me, I will beat you to death.
She wants to change.
She's playing you.
You were looking for vengeance.
I have a right to it.
Not in my city. Go home.
Buffy is drawn into a war of revenge. Sarah Michelle Gellar guest stars on an all-new Angel.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Slade, the Buffyverse Revisited. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Brienne of Tarth.
I'm your other host, James.
Okay, and this week we will be full-arm dragon twisting our way into Season 1, Episode 19 of Angel, Sanctuary, Night 2 of our two-night event.
A Buffy two-night event.
Except this is an Angel two-night event.
Except this is an Angel two-night event.
Oh my.
Also, it wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been a two-night event because Buffy and Angel aired on the same night.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a two-night event, but it just sounds better to me.
But they totally definitely would have build this, especially because Sarah does have a significant role in this episode. It definitely would have been spoiler alert. It definitely, like, the WB definitely would have been like a Buffy Angel crossover event.
Yeah, and that's probably exactly what they said too.
I'm sure.
Anyway,
I haven't sought out the because, well, you don't know because you never watch the YouTube videos, but I always play the episode promo trailers.
Oh.
During the, for the opening of the podcast. And I haven't sought it out. I haven't sought it out for this one yet. But yeah, I would almost guarantee that when I do, it's definitely going to be a Buffy crossover event.
On the WB.
On the WB.
So, long time no see, James. You don't call, you don't write. It's like you don't even like me.
So, this week we will be long arm dragging into...
No, it's full arm dragon twisting.
Full arm dragon. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You should be. So you are sorry, that's for sure. How are you? What's going on? How's your nipples?
I'm hungry. My nipples are fine, but I'm hungry.
Well, I mean, a little peek behind the curtain here. We did just come off a 20-minute break. You could have had a little snack.
I could have. I don't really have.
Instead, you probably furiously masturbated.
So, not furiously. So, no. I don't really have anything here to snack on because, as much as I hate to admit this, but I'll share this. I am trying to lose some weight. So I really don't have anything here to snack on.
That was your first mistake. At our age, James, you need to just accept that you're going to die young, and that we are overweight gentlemen. And
but I'm trying to remedy that last part there.
Nah, just accept your inevitable shortened life, and everything will be fine.
I'm tired of not being able to go to Walmart and Target and buy pants.
Oh, you like to buy your pants at the grocery store.
I like to buy my pants at the grocery store. Yeah. No, I just don't want to have to keep going to big and tall man shops.
Well, I can tell you how to remedy that if you want me to.
Sure, go ahead.
Stop wearing pants.
I had a feeling that was going to be your answer.
Yeah, I mean, problem solved. Listen,
just don't wear pants.
I know how to solve problem. I'm a problem solver, James. That's what I am.
You work from home, dude. Why do you need to wear pants? Come on.
Exactly. The fuck is wrong with it? But yeah, so otherwise everything's good with you there, buddy.
Yep. How about you? Did the 20 minutes we were apart treat you well?
You know, I saw some shit in those 20 minutes.
Did you?
I saw some shit. Some things went down. It's been a long, tough road, James. But I'm back. I'm back,
Good.
and I'm ready to rock and roll.
I'm glad you were able to pull yourself through those hard times.
I persevered.
Yeah, I'm glad you were to persevere. Out of curiosity, did our long-standing friendship inspire you at all to push through the adversity?
I was like, listen, I need to get back to my bro. I got to pull through this. And so I made it through the gates of hell, and here I sit, ready to continue our podcasting journey.
Wow, that is so fucking inspirational, man.
Yeah. Well, listen, use it to masturbate to, or whatever you want to do.
I probably won't use it for that.
No.
Probably not. No.
Okay, well,
actually, not even probably not. I can guarantee you, I definitely will not use it for that.
You will, though, won't you?
No, I won't.
Damn it!
No.
All right.
Sorry.
Fine. Fucking fine.
All right.
Would you like to?
Ready?
Would you like to grill us up some dates and deets?
No, I don't really feel like getting the grill out.
I already got it. I got it out. It's already lit.
The charcoal's going. You got a good heat on it.
The briquettes are good and white. They're fucking. They're going, bro.
All right. Well then, yeah. Let's grill them up. Let's go ahead and grill them up then. Right. As previously stated, we are revisiting Angel Season 1, Episode 19, our 19th episode of the series overall, Sanctuary. The second part to our previous Angel episode, 5x5. Our episode director this week is Michael Lang, and our episode credited writer is Tim Minear. Our original air date was May 2nd, 2000 on the now defunct WB network. Our Nielsen rating this week was 3.6 million households when it first aired, ranking it 83rd out of the 131 network primetime shows for the week, and first out of the 15 primetime shows airing on the WB for the week. The first time that this has happened for Angel, but also the first time that it's happened for the Buffyverse as a whole since The Wish aired back on December 8th of 1998.
Damn. So that means people really dug the
5x5.
5x5, and we're like, I got to see the conclusion of this.
Yeah, because I think we had a 0.3 million increase in viewership. Let me check.
That's like 300,000 people. Yeah.
Yeah, because episode 18, 5x5 was 3.3 million, and this episode was 3.6. So yeah, we had a 0.3 million jump. So yeah,
people made some phone calls and was like, "Brah, you got to see this. Get to the crib, and we got to do some angel watching."
Right. Or like my guess would be too, like, you know, this was before on demand and DVR, so my guess would be people taped 5x5, you know, and then watched it and then turned in live. You know what I'm saying? For Sanctuary. Okay.
Figured we would just wait and see how much dead air we could do. I guarantee somewhere in that 6 or 7 seconds, people are going, "Oh, wait a minute." If they're just listening to the audio version, they're like, "Uh-oh, I think this shit dropped out."
they're checking to make sure they're not buffering.
Yeah, it's like the worst thing you can do, like radio people, and you never have dead air. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, yeah? This is our podcast, bitch. We're having 10 to
Watch
20 seconds of
this.
dead air per episode.
Per episode. Our regular cast, as always, includes David Boreanaz as Angel, Charisma Carpenter as Cordelia, and Alexis Denisoff as Wesley. Our guest stars this week include, oh my god, so excited, Elizabeth Rahm as Detective Kate.
Oh, God, I have missed her so much.
Christian Kane as Lindsay, Thomas Burr as Lee, Stephanie Romanoff as Lila, Alistair Duncan as Collins, Jeff Ricketts as Weatherby, Kevin Owens as Smith, Adam Vernier as Detective Kendrick, Eliza Dushku as Faith, and special guest star Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy.
What?
Our episode synopsis this week, my episode synopsis this week reads, Buffy comes to Los Angeles seeking vengeance on Faith, but is shocked to discover that Angel sides with her nemesis. Wesley considers using Faith for reinstatement to the council.
Okay. Mine reads, Angel attempts to reform Faith as Kate, the Watchers Council, and even Buffy Summers pursue her.
Okay, well, once again, you continue a tradition of having suck-ass summaries. So...
Well, it's not like I wrote them, so I'm okay with that.
I'm just kidding.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I am. They're fine. They're fine.
Oh. Are they 5x5?
They're not 5x5. So we open moments after our previous Angel episode ended, and Angel has taken Faith to his subterranean pimp pad, and he is gently tucking her into bed so she can get some rest. And as he's getting ready to leave, Faith calls out to him, and he turns around, and we see some brief glimpses of Faith violently attacking him with a knife and cutting him up pretty badly. And we cut back to Faith still laying calmly in Angel's bed, and she's like, nothing, and he leaves, and that is our cold open.
And then she calls out to him again, and he's like, yeah, and she's like, do you really want to hurt me? And he's
right.
like...
And he's like, no, that's why I didn't whoop your ass in the alley, and why I brought you back here. Also, why are you singing?
She's like, listen, I'm into the culture club, all right? And like, okay, fair enough. So yeah, that was our cold open. It was very quick cold open.
You know why it was such a quick cold open? Because there was a long as fuck previously on Buffy and Angel montage.
Yeah, it was like it was like half an episode montage, because it's like started with, they're like, previously on Buffy it was actually David Boreanaz's voice. He said previously on Angel and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and it like goes all the way back to the first introduction of Faith through like every fucking thing she's done up to this point. Yeah, it was fucking long. So when we come back, Angel has gone upstairs to the offices, and he's looking for food for Faith, donuts. And he's this, don't ask me why, but this just cracks me up. He's looking in the donut box, right? And well, first he goes, do we have donuts? And Cordelia's like, yeah, right there in the box that says donuts on it. And she's
like, do you not know how to read? Did you never? She's like, I know you were born in like 17th century Ireland, but did you never? Your family was kind of well off. Didn't you learn how to read?
Yeah, and he's like, wow, you know what? I fucking didn't. Okay, Cordelia.
He's like, I didn't. And once I was a vampire, it really didn't seem all that fucking important. And then once I got my soul back, I was kind of busy moping around for a couple 100 years. And you know what? I'm dealing with a lot of shit right now, Cordelia. So why don't you back the fuck off?
Yeah. If you're not going to
And
offer
just tell me where the goddamn Boston creams are.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. This is the thing that cracks me up is she's like, yeah, right there. And he goes over and he opens it up and he's like going through the donuts, like, look. And he's like, is there any jelly? And she's like, she says, yeah, the whole variety is there. But I'm like, you're looking at them, Angel. Your eyeballs are touching them.
Right.
Why
do you not know what a jelly donut looks like?
Is it like, it'd be like standing over like a pot of spaghetti and you're like putting spaghetti in your bowl and you're like, is there any spaghetti?
Right.
You know, it's like you're there.
Like jelly donuts are pretty fucking unmistakable, dude. No matter where you get them from.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so that kind of cracked me up.
I should know. They're my favorite.
Fuck yeah, they are. Fuck yes, they are. Oh, and also any Bavarian filled donuts. Those are hot fire. Anyway.
We know you like cream squirting in your mouth.
Can't deny it.
For those that listen and don't watch, the exasperated look on Jeremy's face just now.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, I can't argue it. Angel and Wes get into a pretty heated discussion here about faith because he's like, wow, so the woman who just last night was horrifically torturing me this morning gets pastries. And I was like, ooh, you know what? Kind of got a point. A little bit.
Wes is making a little bit of a good point. But then Angel's like, you know, he's basically like, you know, I thought we were trying to save souls here, you know.
But then Wes kind of makes a point, like basically saying, this bitch ain't got no soul. And it's kind of like, you know what? Again, he's a little bit right. I mean,
he does have a valid point.
Like, I would have to say, like, I'm not going to go verbatim through what everything. It was very well written, this back and forth, and well acted. But I'm going to have to go ahead and say that I feel like Wes kind of is. Like, I don't want to say he's right, but he makes a good case. Let's put it that way. He makes a really good case for being like, you know what? Why don't we just turn this bitch out on the streets and be done with her? But on the same token, Angel makes a good point that like we're supposed to be saving souls. That's literally what we're doing. So, you know,
right.
It's very well written. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where you can see where both parties are coming from, and you sympathize and almost side with both parties. Yeah,
because Wesley is sporting his fucked up face and everything, and you know, you see that like the whole side of Cordelia's eye and this whole is just fucking mangled, and her eye is literally hanging out of the socket. It's like a googly eye, and
no.
Oh, that was the version I was watching.
But yeah, no, she is fucked up. But no, yeah, it is a very well written. It's very well written.
It's very well written.
It's very well written. The dialogue is phenomenal. No, you're right. It's a very well written scene, and like I said, and I think a lot of that does hinge on the fact that you can very much understand where both Wesley and Angel are coming from.
Yeah. Like you said too, you can find yourself siding with both of them,
right? Because you're like
really well written, and like they've really explored this world and these characters well to where you're like, man, I can I can see both sides. Like, like if you had to
Right.
be the King Solomon and come in and fucking, make the judge, it's like, whoo, shit. I gotta deliberate on this.
Right, exactly. Because it's like, man, if I was in Wesley's shoes, like, yeah, fucking fuck
I'd be like,
that bitch.
this
What?
bitch,
Right, like she doesn't.
took a knife to me and like cut me sometime. No, she broke a fucking shard of glass and entered my rectum with it. Okay, so
Right,
we're
right.
done.
And then, but on the other hand, you're like, but if I was Angel, I'd be like, no, we can't just like give up on her. Like that's this is the the entire thesis of what we're doing is trying to save people. We can't just throw her out.
Yeah, and that's where I would say, if I was the King Solomon in this situation and had to make the decision, I would have to go with Angel, because he has the strongest point of A, that's what they're doing is saving souls. B, she's a slayer. Like, you can't just let an emotionally disturbed and distraught slayer just like, well, you're on your own, go fuck off.
Right,
like you have an
right.
obligation to safety of everyone else to try to get her help, so ultimately Angel obviously is right, but I can 1,000,000% sympathize with Wesley's take on this.
Oh
And
yeah, definitely.
he eventually is just like, fuck this, and he just leaves. And
Yep.
At which point Angel's still trying to kind of make his case to Cordelia, and she's like, oh yeah, and she's like, oh, I need you to sign these real quick. And he's like, okay. And he signs one, and he's still saying, she's like, yep, totally. She's like, here too. And he signs that and says some more, and she's like, yep, 100%. And she's like, here too. And he signs that and hands it back to her. And then he's like, wait a minute. Those were all made out to you. And she's like, yeah, I'm fucking off to a well-earned paid vacation. And you're on your own with Miss Psycho downstairs. And you know what? Again, I see Cordelia's point.
Yep. But yeah, I 100. It's so rare too. Like we're like, obviously it's because the nature of our show, we're joking about it a little bit, but at the same time, it's rare to have a situation on a show where you literally can side with every party involved.
Yeah,
in
and
a situation.
It doesn't happen all the time on either of these shows. A lot of times you and I are like, well, yeah, so-and-so is clearly right here. What is so-and-so over here? What are they fucking talking about? But yeah, in this instance, because we know, as viewers, we know Faith's complete history. And it's not like she's just been kind of mean sometimes. Like, she has done some fucking diabolical shit.
100%.
Diabolical shit to all of them at least once. And also she is a murderer. Like legit murderer.
Right, like cold-blooded like murderer.
Yeah. So it's not like we're dealing with somebody who's kind of bitchy or a little bit of a hard to handle. I mean, she's
right. She just hasn't. It's not like she's just made some casual oopsie mistakes with her life. No, just straight up homicided people.
Yeah, she straight up unalived a motherfucker who was completely innocent, and she's a super powered diabolical fiend, and I mean, at least she was. So yeah, I can totally be like, I'm totally with Cordy being like, yo, you're writing me some. Now here's my one question though. This is totally nitpicky, but that's who I am. But why did he have to write 3 separate checks?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
Does she not know that she could just add all that up into one check?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I was like, that seems like a waste of checks. All right, so anyway, yeah, so she takes her checks and she basically fucks off. And again, don't blame her one bit.
Don't blame her one bit. And actually, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure we don't see either of them through the rest of the episode, right? Like, they're gone now.
Oh, of course we see Wes.
Oh, we do see Wes again. That's right.
Yeah, he still has a pretty vital role to play here.
That's right.
No, we don't see though. Fuck no. This is totally with her. Like, it's totally in line with who she is and who her character is. She's not fucking around. She's like,
I momentarily completely forgot about the whole B plot with Wesley and the Watchers Council.
Right? Or I was like, did you have a small stroke during our break? Or no? But yeah, Cordelia has definitely fucked off, and again, I'm 100% with her. Like, yep, go to Tijuana, sit on the beach, have some Mai Tais, and be like, you motherfuckers are on your own, because I'm Cordy, and I don't roll like that. So Angel goes back down there to the subterranean pimp pad where Faith is, and she's basically gonna leave. And he's like, yeah, no. And she's like, yeah. And he basically blocks her from leaving. And she's like, so are you going to get out of my way, or are we going to have to throw down? And I'm like, didn't he just pretty much own you?
Well, that's the thing, though. He didn't, because he wasn't fighting back for the majority of that fight.
Right. And that means he definitely was owning her, because she was fucking, she was going to town, and he was just like, nah.
But let's also mention too that the reason she's trying to take off is because she's starting to relive all the horrible things she's done, and like really it's getting to her.
It's the fight or flight thing, and
it very much ties into the scene in 5x5 where we see Darla find Angel after he's been cursed,
right?
And he's reliving, all the bad things he's done.
And that's how they weaved that B plot into this overall story. This is another reason why Angel is so intent on, I think, trying to help Faith, because he's like, yo, I was 10 times the monster she was. And, like, everybody deserves a chance, kind of thing. So he's like, so eventually he's like, okay, fine. And he opens the door and he's like, go. And, but she doesn't. And, she confesses that she's having all these visions, like all this shit's just haunting her. And, and at which point she kind of inadvertently reveals that Buffy's dating someone new. And then she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to and say that. And he basically talks to her about redemption, and like she's got to make amends for her crimes no matter how hard it is. And, they're having a good, heart to heart kind of thing here. And we cut to a bar where Wes is playing darts, and he's pretty fucking good at darts. And who does he run into but Weatherby, one of the guys from whatever the name of the episode was, where the Watchers sent these clowns to come to Sunnydale to...
Who are you?
Yeah, who are you? Yeah, and it was like...
Well, actually, they were in This Year's Girl and Who Are You, I believe. Yeah.
And they were bumblefucks. They were total bumblefucks. Like, just total bumblefucks. He runs into them because if you recall, when their little thing was all said and done, they were like, "Well, fuck, we're on our own because the council is not can't get us back and blah blah blah." So that's like apparently why they're still. Well, that doesn't really explain why they're in L.A. other than they're probably still tracking Faith, but I don't know.
Right.
We'll just let that. Well, I'll let that kind of plot.
I just presumed they were still there because they're still trying to get Faith.
Yeah. Well, my only thing is though, but they were in Sunny. Like, how would they know she was in L.A.? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a plot hole, and I don't really care. It doesn't bother me that much, but I'm like, okay, fine, they're there. Maybe they still have contact with the council, and the council has, pulled some with their magic, pulled some of these police reports from L.A. and that's got to be, our girl there. So Weatherby and the rest of the special ops team, even though they're complete bumblefucks, they start talking to Wes, and basically they're like, "Yo, if you help us, this could be your opportunity to get back on the Watchers Council, and at one point they say something like, it was crazy, Wes. The whole thing with her, like nobody blames you." And he's like, "Oh, really? Because it kind of felt like they did blame me when they fired me." And the guy's like, "Okay, fair enough, but nobody blames you anymore." They're basically like, "Look, if you help us, get her, then this will be you'll be back in, And they give him this syringe, and they're like, inject her with this because we know you have access to her. So inject her with this, and we can get her back to England, and then you'll be back in the council." And Wes agrees to the plan, but on the condition that Angel is to be left completely alone, unharmed, the whole 9 yards. And Weatherby agrees. Although I don't know. I don't trust Weatherby. Like I don't feel like Weatherby's very trustworthy. But anyway,
I also feel like they're 100% lying to him about like this is his way back into the council.
Oh yeah. I 100% agree. I think he's their man on the inside, and they don't give a fuck about they've clearly not spoken to the council and been like, "So do we have your permission to offer him his job back if he helped?"
Right.
They're just, yeah. And spoiler alert, Wes is not an idiot. We'll just say that. So then we cut to Lindsay, Lila, and Lee Mercer. And Lee is convalescing from the beating he took from Faith. And he is hilariously fucked up. His jaw is wired shut. So when he talks, he's talking like this. And he's got this big, huge neck brace on and all these bruises and shit all over his face. And what I think would have been even more hilarious is if they had put one of those halos on him that screws around in the head, and keeps their head perfectly. That would have been fucking hilarious. But so he's like, "Yeah, fuck this fucking bitch. Let's get her." And so they decide, okay, so they're like, "Oh my God, we hired her to kill him, but now they're fucking shacking up and they're like on good to this fucking bit." And he says, and I think this is the first time we ever hear this phrase, but Lindsay says, "If the senior partners find out what we've done and that we've left these loose ends, we're going to be in some shit." And I think that's the first time we've heard the term senior partners, which...
No.
It definitely is.
No, I can't tell you exactly what episode it was, but we've heard senior partners before.
Okay, well, you're wrong. So they... no, they probably have. But it really starts becoming prominent now. We'll hear that term a lot, and then we're eventually going to figure out what that... you're thinking, oh, well, yeah, the senior partners of the law firm. And yes, but also more than that, which we'll discover as the show goes on. So he's like, okay, so here's what we'll do. We're going to hire this fucking demon, and he will go, and he will off Faith. And they're all like, yeah, perfect plan. Nothing can go wrong with that. And then they all put the hand in the middle and do that thing, and they're like, go team! And, we cut to Angel's apartment, and Faith has heard on the news that there's a warrant out for her arrest. And I'm like, how is that news to her? She already knows. Like, she freaks out, right? But it's like, she already knew this. Like, number one, she, at the very least, she's known it since last episode when Lindsay told her, yeah, you've got this fucking felony murder warrant out in Sunnydale. You know what I mean? So, whatever. But
so, sorry. They are actually mentioned in the very first episode, City of.
Okay, you're wrong. So
no, I'm not.
Oh gosh, but yeah, why? I don't know. She just seems to have a little bit of a meltdown over hearing this, that she's got this, and I'm like, she already knew this, but you know, whatever.
I think it's part of like
her realization of
the scope of
mess that she's in.
Of everything she's done, and
Okay.
and how deep, how far gone she really is.
Okay.
Is my take on it.
I can roll with that. That's cool. Then suddenly, this demon sneaks into Angel's apartment and attacks. And Faith just kills it with a knife. She just like, it's like, stab. And it's dead. Although she has a little freak out from the blood, the blood from the demon on her hands. You know, she's like, oh my God. And then, without warning, who arrives but Buffy Bay? Buffy Bay has arrived and is utterly shocked to find Angel and Faith holding each other while nude.
Okay, no, they're not nude.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
Yeah, because Angel is hugging Faith to try and comfort her because she's, you know, having a little freak out about the blood on her hands, and Buffy comes strolling down the stairs into Angel's sweet subterranean pimp pad.
Right, but they are nude in the version I watched.
Okay.
So we kind of cut to what would have been a commercial, but when we come back, there's a little bit of a situation going on there, and what's going on, Ames J?
I mean, Buffy is obviously like not thrilled to see that Angel and Faith are, you know, that Angel's comforting Faith like that, and she's pretty dead set on making sure Faith gets brought into the police for, you know, everything she's done. And
but doesn't that seem stupid to you? Like, especially for this to come from Buffy, like, doesn't that seem like a dumb she's a slayer,
right? Because like the police aren't going to be able to hold her.
No, and
right.
It just seems, I'd be like, really, Buffy? Your plan is to just go ahead and give her to the mortal police, like,
right?
That have no. Sorry, go ahead.
Of course, Angel's dead set against, you know, letting any of that happen, and Buffy hauls off and decks him, and he hauls off and decks her right the fuck back. Yeah, and they're both pretty shocked that he hit her, and she's she is almost more offended that he hit her over Faith. Like that seems to sting her more.
It does seem to
than the
sting
fact
more.
that aside from the fact that he hit her.
Yeah, I don't like any of this. I don't like. It's just there's no way to make that not a problematic exchange. Like there shouldn't have been any hitting. Like, okay,
Right.
if it's vampire versus Slayer in this battle or whatever, that's a completely different context than what this had. Where I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I don't like it.
So he immediately apologizes, and he's like,
I only hate you because I love you.
no, he's like, not to go all schoolyard, but you hit me first. And he does note that she's actually stronger than him, too.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like, not in defense of what happened interesting, but I just thought it was interesting that this is like confirmation that she's stronger than which I guess maybe makes sense. She would have to be stronger.
I feel like that's something that's not really that's not a hard and fast rule. Like I feel like that's something that's just kind of depends on the episode and what they need to be going on to if the Slayer is stronger. You know what I mean? I don't know.
No, maybe. So Wesley shows up and he lets them know that the council's looking for Faith, and Buffy's all like, well, they're for sure going to kill her if they get their hands on her. So Buffy and Faith make their way up to the roof, and of course they start to argue, and Faith is like genuinely apologizing for everything that she's done, and she asks Buffy for another chance, and understandably Buffy is pretty much like, fuck you, I gave you enough fucking chances, we're done with chances. And she's like, she tells Faith that all she's ever done is screw up her life, by going after Angel and then Riley, and she's, she says that she's lost fights before, but Faith's the only person that made her ever feel helpless, and Faith wants to know what she can do to make up for it. And pretty much no sooner than she finishes that thought, Collins attacks Buffy and Faith, and Smith is hovering above them on the roof with a helicopter.
Where did he get the fucking helicopter?
It's the same helicopter they showed up with in Sunnydale.
I know, and then I was like, where the fuck did they get this helicopter? Have they just been going from
They've just been flying all over the U.S. in a helicopter.
Instead of having vehicles, or they've just been flying from town and they're like, listen, where we need to go to the nearest place where we can get helicopter fuel, because we can't just land at the marathon and fill up. They've just been flying around from town to town.
Right. So something interesting about this scene that I found while looking up stuff for the episode was that a few days before shooting the episode, they found out that SMG was only going to be able to, she wasn't going to be able to work outside on the night that the scene was supposed to be filmed. It's like she wouldn't be able to be outside for whatever reason. So they had to take the rooftop setting and split it into two and shoot everything on the rooftop looking out towards the city in one direction with the real helicopter, and then on a sound stage they had to recreate the exact rooftop looking in the other direction so that they could shoot everything with Sarah and whatnot, and then they had to like combine them seamlessly for the final episode. And production designer Stuart Blatt said that he thinks it's one of the more impressive things they ever managed to pull off as far as editing.
Like, why couldn't she film at night? Was she? Oh, was it a full moon? She had to transform.
I don't know. So then we cut to inside Angel's subterranean pimp pad, and Weatherby has attacked, and Wesley stabs him with the syringe, and Angel starts to run upstairs, and he hears gunfire, and this is such a fucking cool scene. He launches himself through the fucking skylight and inside the helicopter, and tosses Smith out of the helicopter and orders the pilot to put the chopper down on the rooftop. And we see that Buffy has noticed Faith is gone. And she's pretty sure she's like escaped again. And then we come back from what would have been a non-existent commercial, and we see Detective Kate, who has tracked Angel down thanks to information provided to her by Lindsay, and she is arresting him for harboring Faith. And what else is going on from there, Jeremy?
Massive fire inside the police precinct. No, Hank. Before we get into this scene, I want to
Sure.
I want to go back. You skipped one. Well, you didn't skip it, but you kind of went over it, which I thought was awesome. The way that Wes stabbed what's his face with the syringe. He actually threw it like a dart and got him in the neck with it. Because as they showed in the bar scene, Wes is a very good dart player, and so he hits him in the neck.
Right.
180 points. I don't know. I thought it was cool. Also, and I guess we could talk more about this at the end and when we're doing our ratings and stuff, but I want to touch on it a little bit in here, and that's that the deal with Buffy and Faith and their whole thing, their whole exchange there before the goon squad shows up. I don't know. I don't really like it. I didn't really like Buffy's I shouldn't say her attitude, because I get that, but I don't know. She came across to me, at least, like very holier than thou, very kind of like, listen, we all get it. Faith has done some fucked up shit, but also Faith brings up a thing briefly. Like, she's like, well, but you had everything. Like, you had you know what I mean? Like, you had everything. I had nothing. Clearly had a fucked up childhood. And I don't know. Buffy's just so sometimes she's kind of like another hero that we're into by the name of Duncan MacLeod, and sometimes she's just very fucking holier than thou. I'm on my high horse and I'm passing judgment on you, kind of unable to see past, like see you for why you were the way you were or whatever. It just very judgy and very like, and it continues in this episode, and it bothers me even more later. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up now. I'll talk about it more when we do our ratings. So yeah, she's a Detective Kate. Oh, by the way, also, I thought that we weren't going to see Detective Kate anymore, and so when she showed up in this episode, I was like, oh yeah, she isn't. God, when does she fuck off forever?
Not till season 2.
Yeah, but hopefully. Oh boy, I can't wait. So yeah, she's now arrested him. They're heading into the precinct, and Buffy's there, and she's like, yo, let him fucking go. And Kate's like, you get the fuck out of here. And Buffy's like, not gonna happen, biatch. And then Angel's like, look, and they all look over, and Faith is sitting at a detective's desk, having apparently turned herself in. And
I'm going to interrupt you real quick because, like, Kate threatens to put Angel in a cell with a view of the sunrise.
Yeah,
and Buffy's all like, you know what he is, like, then that's murder and this and that and everything else, and
nobody says
and then
anything. Like nobody
right.
bothers saying like what are you guys talking about? They're just all like
right. Right. But yeah, and then like you said, they're surprised to see Faith has turned herself in. I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah, so then Faith comes up to Detective Kate and says, I've got a confession. I got a confession to make. And so then we cut to later on, and this Angel and Buffy scene, are they outside? They're still at the precinct. Yes?
They're still at the precinct, yeah.
Okay, I was like, I think they're still at the precinct. So they're like in this, they're somewhere. They've kind of got privacy, but yeah, they're at the precinct, and this scene, man, Buffy is just so holier than thou and so fucking intent that fuck Faith and fuck her and fuck, and I'm right and I'm never wrong and then blah, 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 blah. And Angel's like, finally Angel snaps and he's like, you know what? First of all, this is my fucking city. And we're not going to do shit your way just because you're here, and he brings up a very good point. And I don't remember exactly how he said it, but he says basically, this is the way you wanted shit to be. Like you wanted us to be separated and to not be around each other anymore. So I've come here and I'm saving souls and you're not fucking involved in this by your own fucking choice. So, you need to fucking go home. And then for just out of nowhere, like before she leaves, she's like, by the way, I'm in a new relationship.
Well, yes and no. So
yes and yes.
Well, no, she says that before Angel launches into that tirade.
I don't think so.
So yeah, so they have this confrontation and she's mad at him because he didn't, let her know that Faith was in Los Angeles, which she didn't let him know that Faith was out of a fucking coma. Is completely hypocritical because no one bothered to let him and the Fang gang know that she was out of her fucking coma. And Angel's all like, it's none of your business. I didn't think it was any of your business. I was working, I was having a breakthrough with Faith, and she's all tells him how hard it was to see him with Faith. And, he tells her that it's not about her being Buffy, and that it's about saving Faith's soul, and that's what he does there.
I feel like his arguments are fucking spot on.
Yeah, he's like, it was about saving Faith's soul, and that's what I do here, and you're not a part of that. And the last time we met, that was your idea, that we stay away from each other. And she says that she came because she was worried he was in danger. And he's like, that's bullshit. You were only looking for revenge. And she doesn't deny it. She's like, you're not, she doesn't tell him that he's wrong or anything. But then after he says that, that's when she counters that by lashing out at him and being like, by the way, I'm seeing someone new and it's different than what we had. And you know what makes it different? I can trust him.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, just a totally cunty thing to like, what? How could you not trust Angel? What has he ever done to show that you can't trust him? You know?
And that's when like Angel's had a fucking enough at this point, and he's like, listen, it's great that you have this new life and that you've moved on, you know, but I can't. He's like, I can't. Remember when I'm in pain, the only person I get to share that with is me, and every time I see you, you know, it hurts. And he's basically like, you don't know me anymore, and you have no right to show up with your great new life and tell me how to do things in my city. So go the fuck home.
Yeah.
And she
and then she goes to leave. She starts to go down the steps, and she stops and says, "See, faith wins again." And I'm like,
and then she fucking walks off.
Fuck! Like,
yep.
Ugh, I did not like Buffy Summers in this fucking episode, man, at all.
Yep.
And Angel like slams his hands against the wall, you know, after she leaves, and Wes comes up and he's like, you know, are you okay? And do you want to go after her? And Angel's like, yes, but he doesn't. And, you know...
Doesn't he? Doesn't he?
Yeah, he goes after her. And he drop kicks her in the back.
No, he does go after her. Not in the... Well, he does. He shows up in Sunnydale.
Well...
Oops, sorry.
Hug. He says... Wes says, you know, I think you were right... about Faith and that she can maybe still be, you know, reached, saved, rehabilitated, whatever. And as they're talking, they cut to a scene of Faith, who's in a jail cell, but she looks at peace, like more than we've ever really seen her before, and, you know, seemingly in peace. And that our credits roll. That's the episode. That's the end of our 2-night event.
Yeah. So there was a funny... Faith says a funny thing. I forgot to mention it in the rooftop confrontation scene with Buffy. When they're arguing, Faith says to her, you going to throw me off a roof again?
Again? Yeah. You going to stick a knife into my liver and then throw me off a roof?
Yeah. So this is the last time we see Buffy on Angel.
Yeah, because of the whole shift in networks of the two shows. Yeah.
Yep. What else? Well, there was something else I wanted to mention. What was it? Tim Minear, who wrote the episode, said that it was difficult to break the script for this episode because, quote, it was Faith as we had never seen her before. It was sort of easy when it was evil Faith, which was a lot of fun. The problem was trying to make her turn realistic. He also admitted to being nervous about writing Buffy's scenes because of the challenge of writing to her character and tone. He ultimately convinced Joss Whedon to come in and write all of Buffy's scenes.
Well, he fucking did a shit job. That's all I'm gonna say.
Jeremy, would you like to guess what our body count was this episode?
We should just be one, right?
Just one. Yep. Yep. Our music this week, just Christoph Beck and Robert J. Kroll with our original score as usual. Jeremy, would you like to tell me and our lovely audience how many darts do you give this episode?
It's like last week. It's a 4. Phenomenally good episode. I actually love the way this wraps up this portion of, Faith's arc. I liked her being like, you know what? If I'm really gonna change, however you want to say it, like I got to start with facing the consequences of what I've done, in a legal sense. So yeah, I really like that. The writing and the acting in this episode were every bit as good as always, but especially matching last week's. Now, I do not like Buffy's attitude and her attitude and her whole take on this whole thing. And I feel like Angel was 1,000% right in everything he said. And she was just acting like a spoiled, bratty little shit. And not at all, to me at least, like the heroine that we have come to know and love, but just totally bratty little bitch. And yeah, I just didn't like that. And I'm taking a point away for it. I just am. That's just what I'm doing. Because I don't feel like that was, I feel like her deal on the roof with Faith where she was being that way, I can stomach that. And then after seeing, and then everything that went on, like, I feel like at that point, when cooler head should have prevailed after everything, and she should have been like, okay, Angel, you're right. Let's, you were right. She deserves a chance she's did the right thing. She turned herself in, she's accepting man's mortal consequences. So, I'll give her benefit of the doubt, That I would have been more happy with. I just didn't like that she doubled down on her bratty bitchiness and then was just like, oh, and by the way, I got a new boyfriend. Deuces. And I didn't like it. Didn't come across as the Buffy that I know and love. So yeah, I'm taking a point away. Again, just like last week, this being the second part, it's definitely must-see for Faith. Must-see episode. Great stuff. Little fun fact. In Germany, this episode's called Haunted. Makes no sense. Well, I guess it kind of does if you mean like emotionally haunted, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, that's my story and I'm sticking to it, James. Why don't you tell me and our lovely listeners and viewers your final thoughts on this episode, and on a scale of 1 to 5 bitchy bratty slayers, how do you rate it?
On a scale of 1 to 5 bitchy bratty slayers, I give this episode a 5.
Okay.
Another 5. It's another phenomenal episode. It's the perfect bookend to
listener for the wheel.
To last week's episode. No, it's the perfect bookend and second part to last week's episode. Honestly, I think if you take This Year's Girl, Who Are You, 5x5, and Sanctuary as like a 4-part story, I think this is the perfect bookend to that 4-part story.
Yeah, to this part of her story. Yeah, I totally agree.
It's well written, well acted. I disagree with your stance on Buffy in this episode. Like, so here's what I'll say. I feel like Buffy had every fucking right to be how she was with Faith. No more chances. You're done. That's that. Because up until this point, literally up until the end of the episode, when Faith turns herself in, Faith had never given any indication that she wanted to change. All she did was when else? Tell me.
Okay, what'd you say now? Up until when?
Up until the end of this episode, when she actually turned herself in, Buffy hadn't seen any indication that Faith wanted to change who she was or accept what she had done.
Buffy hadn't seen any indication that. Okay, well that's that's not what you said the first time.
You know, we as viewers had seen it. You know, obviously earlier in this episode.
Last episode.
So, well, right. You know, yeah, at the end of last episode. So yeah, I mean, I disagree with your stance on Buffy to a certain extent. I think Buffy had every right to be that way with Faith. I do agree that she was being very childish in her final exchange with Angel. I think there was a level of hypocrisy with the whole, I can't believe you didn't tell me Faith was here. Especially considering no one bothered to alert them in Los Angeles that Faith had come out of her coma. And then the whole I have someone in my life now and it's different than with you because I can trust him thing. It was really just like,
and I'm like, really? You can trust him over Angel, the guy who lied to you for multiple months or whatever, that he was a secret fucking army dude? Like, it's just dumb.
Okay. Well, in defense of that, though, it's not like Buffy like came right out at the beginning of their relationship and was like, "Hey, I'm the Slayer."
Oh no, yeah, I'm not saying that he alone was like, but I'm just saying like that whole relationship began with bullshit on both ends.
Right.
You don't. But you're acting like. But he is. Listen, I'm in love with Jesus now. He is Jesus reborn, and I'm like, give me a fucking break here, you know.
But yeah, I agree. She was being kind of childish in that final exchange. Like even if she was hurt that Angel was so adamant about Faith's, you know, redemption or whatnot, I still feel like she was displaying that hurt in a childish manner. Like she was clearly just deliberately trying to hurt Angel back.
Yeah, and he was never at any point deliberately trying to hurt her.
I was just going to say for a misperceived slight against her.
Because at no time did he invite her here to be part of this. Like, that's her own fault for just showing up fucking unannounced. Yeah, you know, I don't know.
And I like when he kind of rails back against her and is like, you know, you're the one that decided, you know, even though he's the one that left Sunnydale, he's like, you're the one that decided we need to keep our distance from each other because she did, and I will remember you. You know, that's what she basically came to Angel to be like, listen, we need to stay away from each other.
Yeah, I wanted to come all the way here to see you to tell you we shouldn't see each other anymore.
Right. After he was stalking her in Pangs.
Right. So it's just like...
but yeah, it's like, I like that when he rallied against her, you know, kind of tired of her childish behavior there. And he's like, listen, you're the one that decided we needed to stay away from each other. I'm glad you have this perfect new life and all, you know, but you know, that's not how I operate here. This is my town, you know, go back home, yada yada. Yeah, it was a great scene. And then the fact that he felt bad about it afterwards, I also felt was very in line with who Angel is. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't like that. I felt like he should have been like, you know, angry like he was, but just been like, you know, fuck it. She had that fucking shit coming, which she did.
Right.
You know,
Right.
instead of being like, oh, I'm going to go after her and beg her forgiveness. No, fuck that. You know?
So yeah, I mean, I the whole episode to me was phenomenal. It's a 5. And I think, so I mentioned this previously. I feel like as much as Doyle leaving and Wesley coming aboard was kind of a soft first season reboot of the show, I feel like this 2-parter is also like another kind of season 1 soft reboot of the show.
Yeah.
I think it kind of redefines, you know, where the show goes from here. And I was, again, I watched these 2 episodes with my lady, and something that would...
You wear a fedora also?
Yes.
You say, lady.
And when we were talking about the episode, she's someone that's, I won't say dead set, but what's the best way to put it? There was questions about Faith's redemption, like, you know, does she deserve it, you know, and this kind of thing. And I was like, you know, I don't necessarily know if it matters whether or not she deserves it. I think for Angel, it's very much about if Faith can be redeemed, if Faith deserves redemption, then I deserve redemption. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I also feel like Angel is probably the type who thinks deserve, don't deserve, that's not my call. My call is
how do I help?
How do I help? Yeah.
Right.
You know, and because that's kind of how I look at things in day to day. Like that's not my call. Like whatever the thing happens, and I'm just like, well, that's not my business. That's not my call. You know.
And I do also think that this kind of jumpstarts Angel's own, like in earnest, his own quest for redemption, so to speak.
Yeah, like at this point, I think he's really figured out, okay, I'm not just fighting demons and stuff. Like, I'm saving souls.
Right.
Like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I took so many souls out of this world for so long. Now I'm going to try to save as many as I possibly can.
Right. And I think these 2 episodes really I don't like, because I understand that like the impetus of the show leading up to this has been the idea that Angel is there to save souls, but I really think this like solidifies that, so to speak, for the character of Angel, and I do think it also, like I said, kickstarts his own, like, well, if you know, Faith can try and earn redemption, then maybe I can try.
If she's worthy of it, I'm worthy of it.
Right. Then maybe I can try and seek redemption too.
Or maybe, I hadn't even thought of this until you were saying it. Maybe he is so adamant on trying to help Faith because he's like, I was given a second chance by the powers that be, basically. So if I'm worthy of possible redemption, as bad as I was for 150 years, she's certainly, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like he's like,
Yeah.
well, she certainly wasn't at my level of evilness, so she's worthy of redemption, you know?
Right.
To me,
Right.
in the real world, our real world, I think there's some arguments to be made for there's certain people that are beyond redemption, but again,
Sure.
I look at it like not really my call, you know?
Right. And I think you're right. I think both aspects play into it. I think for Angel, he needs to believe that Faith can be redeemed, because then that means he can be redeemed.
Yeah.
But also, like you said, I think he also views it like, well, if I was terrible for like almost for hundreds of years
A
plus,
century and a half, yeah.
and if I feel like I'm worthy of redemption, then surely Faith, who's only murdered a small fraction of the people I murdered,
One person as far as we know of,
then she is surely, worthy of redemption. So yeah, I think it works both ways.
Yeah.
But I also, in regards to the little tiff there at the end, I do think Buffy and Angel needed to have kind of a fight as their final interaction, because as much as I ship Bangel, and as much as the show Angel was reliant on Buffy, in the first place, at some point there has to be a break between that.
yes. Angel needs to be able to stand on its own 2 feet.
And
it does. It does.
It does. And I very much feel like that's what that final confrontational fight was
like you go back to Sunnydale and you do things however you fucking see fit. I'm good. This is my city, LA, and I'm going to do things the way I fucking see fit.
Right. And I think even for the writers from that point on, they were like, all right, like, this show is not Buffy. Like, we can do some really different shit over here. And I think from here on out, we really start to see that.
Yeah,
so
and they do. They pull it off. In my opinion, they pull it the fuck off.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my final thoughts, my opinions. It's a 5. It's definitely a must-see Angel episode. Again, if you're just looking for a Faith retrospective, this definitely has to be in there, especially as the second part of 5x5. So yeah.
James, you ever been to BuffyRevisited.com?
No. What is that? What's that?
That's the website for this very podcast.
We have a website?
We do.
What?
And that website will link you to, check this out. Check this fuck out.
Okay.
It will link you to our Facebook page that's dedicated to this very podcast.
Okay. Hold up. Well, go ahead. I'll go ahead.
It will link you to our YouTube page where if you go there right now, you can watch this very podcast very now.
Well, hold up. You're telling me that right now, if someone is listening to this right now, and they go to BuffyRevisited.com and they click on the YouTube link, they're going to see the video version of Angel Season 1, Episode 19, Sanctuary, that they're listening to right now. They're going to see the video version of that podcast.
They will.
How, dude? How?
It's a kind of magic.
Wow.
Yeah. I know. It's just mind blown.
I don't even get it.
They can also find the link to our merch store.
You have merch?
We do. It's pretty dope too, honestly.
What?
Matter of fact, my mom just ordered a shirt the other day.
Wow. Thanks, Mom.
With our new logo on it. And they can also email us at Buffy Revisited.
Before you go on, did your mom order the shirt to support your podcast or to support her grandson's burgeoning art career?
Exactly. It's kind of a twofer. It's perfect. It's a perfect deal. But yeah, they can also email us at buffyrevisited@gmail.com.
Wow. And so what I was going to say before, and I'm glad I let you finish because I can add on to it now. If they email us or they go to YouTube or they go to Facebook, they'll be able to leave us comments on any of those platforms, right?
Oh, yeah. They can comment on the episode or any episode. They can comment on us. They can tell us how much they love us. They can tell us how much they worship this podcast.
Okay. Here's the important...
Now, hang on.
Okay.
They can also tell us, that if this podcast were to end, they would have no meaning left in their lives.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Here's the most important thing I need to know, though, Jeremy.
Okay.
Can they leave us recipes?
Oh, yes. They can leave us recipes.
Okay.
They can even tell us. They can even tell us all about their own tribbles.
Their tribbles. God, I would love it if people started telling me about their tribbles.
I know, dude.
Tribbles those little fuckers are cute as shit.
Right. I know.
All right. Well,
I know. So I just thought I would share that information with you, in case you didn't know.
I didn't know. Maybe the audience didn't know either, but there you have it, folks. So there you go.
Now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Okay.
All right.
So next week, bro, we're going to be jumping back into the land of Buffy. And we're going to be visiting season 4, episode 20, The Yoko Factor. Yeah, we are.
If I'm not mistaken, that's kind of a Spike-centric episode, isn't it?
What? No.
I think it's heavy on the Spike.
Don't you go promising me Spike.
I think it's heavy on the Spike, but I think it's also heavy on the Atom.
With that all being said, James, you want to say any closing thoughts? Any closing? Would you like to close us out with a prayer?
Yes. Can we please all hold hands and bow our heads?
Okay.
Sweet, merciful Jesus, grant us the serenity.
Whoa.
What?
I think you mean Odin.
You the actual God. You want me to say a prayer to?
Hello.
It's offended so many people.
God, that's it. I have to leave now. So thank you guys for joining us this week. And we will see you next week for Buffy, the Yoko Factor. And until then, I've been one of your hosts. I'm Jeremy.
I'm your other host, James.
Ta-ta.